Hello and welcome to HCS Connects. I'm Kelly Gorel with Hampton City Schools. Today we have Katelyn Deel with us, who is one of our high school teachers from FIOS High School and the Hampton City Schools Teacher of the Year. So welcome to HCS Connects.
Hey Kelly, thanks for having me.
Absolutely, we're excited to get you here and talk about not just Teacher of the Year, but really about being a teacher in Hampton City Schools. So tell us, what exactly do you do at FIOS High School?
I am a 10th grade language arts teacher. I'm the classroom teacher. That's my major role. And this year I am in the Academy of Hospitality and Tourism. I am the new teacher mentor lead for the building, so I welcome all of our newest phantoms in, and I'm also co-sponsoring the Model UN Club this year, and I think I'm going to work on the Key Club this year too. I'm not quite sure yet.
So many hats. A lot of our teachers wear many hats. But I mean, really, that is what it is to be a teacher, because you're so involved in those relationships.
Exactly.
So, like you said, you are language arts, but you're in an academy. Explain how that works a little bit.
So, you know, Hampton City Schools, high schools, we are teaching through the lens this year, and we have been for several years. I'm in the Academy of Hospitality and Tourism, so I work closely with other teachers. We have the culinary pathways and the hospitality and tourism pathways with marketing, and so we are helping our students become college and career ready, and we work closely with our pathway teachers to help them figure out which way they want to go after they graduate.
Which is very exciting, because if you think about it, well, I'm a little bit older than you. So whenever I went to high school, it was very departmentalized. So, you know, whenever you went to high school and you were going to an English class or you were an English teacher, there was just an English hallway.
Right.
And you didn't have that kind of collaboration where you taught the same group of kids, so you could really talk with those teachers to make sure that they're on the right road for success.
Right.
So you're a teacher, predominantly teaching and learning. How did you become a teacher?
It's just always been the master plan. I think we spoke about that before at the Teacher of the Year ceremony. From the time I was very small, maybe 3 or 4 years old, my mom used to make fun of me. What 3-year-old knows what they want to do, you know? And it's just always
really
been
smart one.
Right, I guess. It's always been the plan. It's always been something I wanted to do. You know, my family laughs at me because when I was little, I'd have all my little dolls, or, you know, my cousin or whoever, and we'd be playing school, and we'd be, you know, spending our allowance in the teacher store, and we'd have little grade books and whiteboards and things like that, and it's always been the goal. And then when I went to college, I studied English, and it's always been the plan, and now the plan is just coming to fruition. So
how long have you been teaching, and has it always been with Hampton City Schools?
This is my 7th year teaching, and I have been at FIOS High School all 7 years.
And you're a graduate of Hampton City Schools, correct?
Yes, I'm a Hampton City Schools baby, born and bred. I went to the former Tucker Capps Elementary School. I went to Eaton Middle, and I am a 2010 graduate of Bethel High School.
And from Bethel, I mean, the plan was always to be a teacher, but what was your higher ed pathway?
I did 2 years at Thomas Nelson, and I studied sociology, so I'm a big cheerleader for the community college system, and then I transferred over to Virginia Commonwealth University to get my BA in English literature.
So what do you enjoy the most about teaching?
That's a loaded question.
It is a loaded question, but really, I mean, teaching's hard.
Yes.
Teaching is a very hard job. It can be hard mentally, emotionally, sometimes physically. You know, you're exhausted. So what do you really love about teaching?
I only got a few minutes, but every year you fall in love all over again with your newest group, and you say, man, I'm never going to build those relationships again with the last group. And then by, you know, this time of year, we've been in school for 5 weeks now, and you're starting to see the personalities come out, and you're starting to see everybody get comfortable, and you start telling jokes, and you start laughing, and the wall is coming down, and everybody's getting really comfortable, and that's what I love the most. And I said that before when we talked previously, that just the students being themselves and sharing themselves with me, and once that wall comes down and you can really get to the meat of what you're learning, and, you know, they have the buy-in, we say that a lot, they have the buy-in, that's my favorite part, you know. And sometimes it's not always the verbs and nouns and what we're reading, but it's just spending my days, you know, I got 155 little best friends all the time, and it makes going to work exciting, and not many people get to say that they do what they love every day. And so I'm very, very privileged to do that.
Well, and not just do what they love, but also to be quite the influence to make such a difference,
Right.
because you really are, it's not just about the nouns, the verbs, the
Right.
structures of a, the sentence, but it really is the difference that you're making in these young lives, that you are teaching the future doctors, the lawyers,
Right.
the mayors, really is, you have that effect for everyone.
Right.
So, I mean, I understand that you say you love what you do, but why would you encourage young people, or even somebody that's not an older person that would want to be a career switcher, to go into the teaching field?
You know, I think you have to find your authentic self and be willing to share that self with with other people, and you have to find something that you love. You know, I love reading, I love language arts, I love that, and you can combine that. And teaching isn't just standing up in front of a whiteboard or a smartboard these days and just spewing out these random facts. It is making all these connections to the world around us. And I think once you find that little niche of people that want to hear what you have to say, that's what makes it exciting. And anybody could be a teacher if you're authentic enough and you go into it for the right reasons.
I agree with you. And I mean, and it's everybody knows we're in a national teacher shortage throughout the United States. And I say national, United States.
Yes.
You know, I think that the stats, and I don't know if I'm 100% correct, but, about 2 years ago, it was like 125,000 vacancies in the nation. Wow. And then they're up to like 800,000 vacancies. So our young people are not going into those teacher prep programs.
Right.
So again, encouraging them to look into that field. But why especially Hampton City Schools?
I think Hampton City Schools is at the forefront of a lot of things, technology and social emotional learning. And, I have friends in other districts, and we compare notes sometimes, and Hampton City Schools is always ahead of the game. And,
I do the same. I have friends in other districts too, and we compare notes on all different levels, and
Right.
I feel the same way.
And I feel like, I was like, oh, we were doing that 5 years ago, or you're not having these types of conversations with your students. And I think education is changing, and Hampton City Schools is sometimes at the forefront of these types of conversations. And, Hampton would be a great place to, get your feet wet in teaching. And, I think a couple years ago, 1 in 4 teachers in Hampton City Schools were brand new to teaching, and that's part of Dr. Kim's induction model, right? And we work very hard to make sure that you come and you're retained and you stay here, and we try to support you as best as we can as a new teacher. And it's just, we try our very best to understand that it's hard. We don't tell you that it's going to be easy from the very beginning, and we try to lend that support and scaffold that experience as best as we can.
Well, and it's been a long time since I was in the classroom, early 2000s,
Okay.
So very long time. But I remember as a middle school teacher, and it wasn't in Hampton City Schools, but basically, I was handed the SOLs,
Right.
and barely a pacing guide, and it was like, go teach. You got a textbook, you got to copy the SOLs from the Virginia
Right.
Department of Education, and this was the deadline of the SOL test, and it was pretty much go teach. That's not the case in Hampton City Schools. We've rewritten over 200 curriculum. There's the huge resource, the toolkit, the instructional toolkit. It is nice to see individuals that just don't go into the field as a brand new teacher,
Right.
but come from other school divisions, either within the area or out of state, and now we're in Virginia, and see those supports in place from Dr. Kim Richardson and the 5-year induction program to all of those resources. It's right there at their fingertips. And even administrators that have come over here, like, wow, the support for administrators and teachers, it's phenomenal. And you just don't know about that, until you're like in it.
Right. Yep. I mean, I worked with my curriculum specialist to write some of the 9th grade curriculum for several years, and every year we've gone back and we've revised it. We've made it more, this year we worked on assessments and make sure the assessments are more equitable for students. We are adding that social competency piece, and every year we come back and we add another little piece, and we make sure every social aspect is covered, and it's not just SOL testing anymore. We make sure every base is covered, and I don't know that other districts are doing that right now. And other districts are looking at our curriculum and
Purchasing our
they're
curriculum,
purchasing it.
having us come over and teach them.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I will say it is not just SOLs. it hasn't been in years.
Right.
It is a huge piece on climate and culture, social emotional learning, because it is about building, again, those relationships
Exactly.
and making those connections. And, you know, we always talk about college, career, and life ready for high school, but it's not just high school, it's middle school.
Right.
And it's even our youngest learners at the elementary level. And we're still doing that work at those grade levels too, even though you're high school, that work's being done at the elementary level, rewriting curriculum, you know, looking at the social emotional piece, the climate and culture, because we want our youngest learners to love school and continue.
Exactly.
So that we've got those phenomenal on-time graduation rates. You know, they're great for us to say, oh, we've got this, you know, almost
Right.
98% on-time graduation rate, but it's better to say we've got kids that are interested and engaged and they are staying with their cohort and graduating
Right.
on time because they like school and they're prepared.
And as a teacher, that's what's more important to me is, you know, I read somewhere that a student learns by third grade if reading is important or if school is important. And in the big picture, we want everybody to think education is important. And I think if we can get everyone to think education is important, we can maybe amend some of that teacher shortage a little bit. So
That would be great.
you know, please. So, you know, I think it's a little twofold of an issue. We need education to be at the forefront of people's priorities again, but we also really need teachers to come back. So
Well, and I know in big pieces, teachers, I mean, you could never pay a teacher enough.
never.
Ever, 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 for all the time, the commitment, the dedication, and really the heart and soul that they pour into their students.
Right.
And I will say that that's been a difficult piece because we're not self-funded, you know, but we do have a great relationship with our city council.
Mm-hmm.
There's more funding finally coming out of the state. And so I know intentionally as a division leadership team and as a school board, their focus has been on teacher salaries. So that's one thing we have plugged away on for the last 7 years to have, I believe it's over a 20% raise.
Yep.
In 7 years, and we're still just plugging away. That is the goal. That's still at the forefront of the superintendent, the division leadership team, the school board. So hopefully as that also increases, that will entice some individuals to go into education.
I think we're working on it. I think right now at FIOS we have 2 or 3 vacancies. So the gap is closing, but you know, it is an uphill battle. But the people who show up every day show up and are ready to get the job done, and we are here, you know, 100% for our students.
So, and like you said, and I love how you keep saying we, and you are the Hampton City Schools Teacher of the Year. In the spring, we recognized 33 or 34 Teachers of the Year individually. And then from there, we had an elementary, middle, and high school Teacher of the Year, and you were recognized as the high school. And from those 3, it got narrowed down to 1 overall. So, Katelyn, you were named the 2022-2023 Hampton City Schools Teacher of the Year last spring during that school board meeting, I believe, in March. And you represent nearly 1,500 HCS teachers. So how does that feel?
It feels almost unreal. You know, it's, you know, I've been working towards being a teacher forever. And on one hand, it feels like, really, I was just doing what I was asked. I was just doing my job. This was just part of the daily requirements. And I just showed up and did what I was asked to do every day and did what I love to do. But then on the other hand, it is such an amazing acknowledgement. And I feel like everything I've worked towards and everything that I do every day has finally been seen, and I've joined the ranks of some amazing teachers. You know, like we said, I come from Hampton City Schools, so I'm now working with a lot of my former teachers.
That's very cool.
And I feel like I've just kind of leveled up and I've joined the ranks with all of them, and I could sit here all day and talk about how great of an honor it is. You know, I had so many of my administrators and my colleagues and even my students like cheering me on. I can remember coming back to school the next day and one of my students said, "Did you win?" And I said, "Yeah." And I showed her my little plaque and she went, "Yes." Like she had just been waiting with bated breath to figure out who won. And that in and of itself is sort of like a payment, right? It sort of makes up for some of the things that we deal with, because you do have a bunch of these cheerleaders on your side all day long, and it just felt really great. And I'm just really excited to see what happens next.
So 3-year-old Katelyn.
Yes.
3-year-old Katelyn that wanted to become a teacher didn't realize there was an overall Teacher of the Year, though.
She didn't, no.
Okay, she didn't. So
No
this was
clue.
not a 3-year-old Katelyn goal.
No, but she's super happy. She's super proud of herself, and all the work and late nights and lesson planning and, you know, all the red tape that she had to go through, it was totally worth it. And
That's for the kids.
she'd do it again.
She would do it again.
And she's going to keep doing it. So
Well, we really appreciate you being here today and sharing a little bit about you and recognizing you as the 2022-23 Hampton City Schools Teacher of the Year, and really just saying thank you to you and all of our teachers for what you do day in and day out, not just Monday through Friday, but also Saturdays, Sundays, evenings, summers. You really do make an impact, and I hope you realize how important you are to our students, all of our teachers, and the hard work, from the teachers at FIOS to our 4 high schools to all of our elementary, middle, pre-K through 8 and gifted center. We couldn't do this work without you, and our kids need you.
thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
And thank you for joining us on HCS Connects. Remember, it's easy to stay connected.